In the 1970s, California's legislature was described as one of the finest in the world because of the expertise, diligence, and collegiality exhibited by its members. The opinion of the legislature, however, has undergone a stunning decline in the last 30 years. A recent poll found 81% of voters disapproved of the legislature and only 12% approved. Due to the hyper-partisan environment in Sacramento, the one thing that does appear to be bipartisan is the willingness of both Democrats and Republicans to punish their members when they do attempt to get things done by working across the aisle. The dysfunctional nature of state politics led the Economist magazine to call California a, quote, failed state, unquote. How did things go so terribly wrong, and what can be done to restore the California dream? In part 2 of our two-part series on reforming California, we'll talk with former Senate Minority Leader Dave Cogdill and former Assembly Minority Leader Mike Villines. We'll discuss how government can deliver better results with greater accountability, how to make the budget process more disciplined and focused, so that we only spend the money that we have and we spend it wisely. And what are the key political reforms that could put the state back on track?
From Fresno, the Maddy Report with Executive Director of the Maddy Institute, Mark Kepler.
The job of a California legislator is not easy. From the long hours, dealing with the state's daunting problems, to the personal attacks, it's a wonder why anyone would want to serve. Fortunately, the Valley has consistently produced some of the most thoughtful and knowledgeable legislators in Sacramento. We're fortunate to be joined by two of them today, former Senate Minority Leader Dave Cogdill and former Assembly Minority Leader Mike Villines. Welcome to you both. Let's start off with talking about California. Is it just broken?
Well, it's certainly bent. But it's the kind of thing, I think, again, we've got an awful lot going for us in this state, and we've been through some pretty tough times in the past. This last decade or two, really, I would argue, has certainly exhibited a decline that no one is happy with, and we've reached a situation now where we really have to think outside the box and get back on track. And I think most folks that look at the situation agree that it can be done. We know what needs to be done, but it's an issue of getting from point A to point B that's so difficult.
Senator Villines, what do you think? Do we have a real problem here, or are people just panicking because we've had a severe economic downturn and that's what's causing all the problems?
Well, I mean, first of all, I like Dave's description as bent. Bent, not broken. I agree with that. And I think actually when you're in crisis mode, which we've been in for the last, several years, it tends to show the dysfunction. It tends to sort of strip a lot of the, the cosmetics away and show you there's real dysfunction. And so I think the benefit of the last few years is that we actually now can see what are the few things that really could make an impact on California to be better. So it's an opportunity, and I think we have a chance to fix it, like Dave said, but it'll take some real courage to do it.
Well, Dave, Senator Cogdill, can we bend the state back? California Forward is one group that's making a lot of suggestions about how we can deliver government services better. Which reforms do you think make sense?
Well, I think there are a lot of things certainly in progress that have been talked about, quite frankly, for a long time. But I think we're at that crucial point now where we can really start to move towards those solutions, because things, quite frankly, have gotten so bad, and Sacramento is so dysfunctional, and it just doesn't seem to be making any real progress. But I think some of the things that have taken place over the last few years as it relates to the new redistricting that will hopefully create districts that are certainly less partisan than what we've seen in the past. So
more competitive.
More competitive, so hopefully you're going to get more middle-of-the-road problem solvers that realize that in order to keep their job, they have to solve problems. They have to do the kind of job that the person that votes for them wants to see them do, which is to make their lives better, obviously, at the end of the day, rather than to cater to the special interests that put them in office.
Even though it's not happening till the next election, do you think that's influencing legislators right now?
Well, I think there's no doubt about it. It's one of the reasons that we've got this more or less deer in the headlight situation going on right now, because they don't know what their districts are going to look like. So they're concerned about the votes they cast and how ultimately they'll have to live or die by those, depending upon the makeup of the district that's yet to be seen.
Senator Villines, you spent a career in the legislature, but you also were a business executive before that. Mm-hmm. Are some private sector concepts, are they translatable to the public sector? And if so, which ones?
Some are. And some aren't. It's interesting when you run for office, you know, a lot, especially as Republicans, you'll hear, but both parties will say, we need to run this like a business. Well, the truth is government does not run like a business, and so you have some built-in inefficiencies, and you have different goals. But the things that are similar is you should at least have outcomes that are measurable. You should be able to have transparency. You know, corporations live and die on their earnings and on their reports and what they have to do transparently. The government should do much of the same. We do it in government by going out to the people, I believe, and doing committee hearings around the state and asking for input, putting things online, making it reach people easier. Now, you can do that, but the test comes by June 15th of every year. Do you have a budget balanced and passed? And the legislature
haven't been doing so well on that yet.
No, they've failed.
So well on that test.
Failed on that, and so that is the true test. And I think that really that's the one that we want to see passed as we go on now.
Well, that's great, because we're going to talk about that. So when we come back, we'll talk about what's become a perennial crisis and everyone's favorite example of dysfunction of state government, the state budget process. That conversation when we return. This is the Maddy Report.